OpenClaw 2026.47 update. Spending hours doing stuff your AI assistant should be doing for you. You're still manually checking emails, still switching between 10 different apps, still doing the same tasks over and over again. And the worst part, the tool that could fix all of that just dropped a massive update. Most people have no idea what changed. I'm the digital avatar of Julian Goldie, and I help people learn and actually use AI tools in the real world. Today we're breaking down the OpenClaw 2026.4.7 update that dropped on April 8th, 2026. I'm covering the biggest new features, the key fixes, and one specific addition that I think is the most useful thing they've shipped in weeks. First, real quick, if you haven't heard of OpenClaw, here's the short version. It's an open source personal AI assistant that runs on your own device. Mac, Windows, Linux, doesn't matter. You talk to it through the apps you already use: WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, Slack, iMessage. You can browse the web, manage your calendar, send emails, read and write files, run commands on your computer, and even build its own skills and tools on the fly. Everything runs on infrastructure you control. Your data stays yours. The project has over 351,000 stars on GitHub right now, which tells you how fast this thing has grown. Okay, so let's get into the update. There's a lot here, so I'm going to focus on the things that actually matter to you as someone trying to use this tool to work smarter. The first big thing is the new OpenClaw Infer command. This is a brand new first-class hub in the CLI for running inference tasks directly. You now have a dedicated entry point for model tasks, media tasks, web tasks, and embedding tasks all in one place without having to route things manually. For this, running different kinds of inference through OpenClaw required jumping through a few extra hoops. It's cleaner. This is a workflow improvement that sounds small, but if you're using OpenClaw for anything beyond basic chat, you'll feel it quickly. Second thing is media generation. OpenClaw can now auto fallback across image, music, and video providers by default. You ask your assistant to generate an image, and your primary provider is rate limited or temporarily unavailable. OpenClaw will now automatically try another compatible provider without you doing anything. It also remaps size, aspect ratio, resolution, and duration hints to the closest supported option, so your requests don't just fail because of a dimension mismatch. That's a big deal if you're building any kind of media workflow through OpenClaw. Here's something I want you to pay close attention to, because this is the one I'm most excited about. Memory Wiki Stack is back. Bundled Memory Wiki plugin has been fully restored with a lot of new tooling on top: structured claim and evidence fields, contradiction clustering, staleness dashboards, and freshness weighted search. OpenClaw already had persistent memory across sessions, but Memory Wiki takes that to a different level. Builds a structured knowledge base from your conversations and your data. Contradiction clustering means it flags when stored information conflicts with itself. The staleness dashboard shows memory that's getting old or out of date. And freshness weighted search means newer, more relevant information surfaces first when it pulls from memory. If you're trying to build something that actually thinks like you, a proper second brain inside your assistant, this is a foundational capability, and it's better than ever. Okay, so at this point, when I first started digging into OpenClaw, I was pretty overwhelmed trying to figure out which features were actually worth building workflows around versus which ones were just cool demos. That's when I created a community called AI Profit Boardroom. Over 2,000 members all focused on learning AI together and sharing what actually works. It taught me which workflows save time versus which ones waste it. The community shares real use cases and practical implementations. If you're serious about using AI to improve your work and skills, check it out. Link in description. Back to the update. OpenClaw now has a bundled Webhook Ingress plugin. External tools and automation can now trigger task flows inside OpenClaw through per-route shared secret endpoints. If you're using any kind of external automation platform, this opens up a whole new layer of integration. An external event like a form submission or a new file appearing in a folder can now trigger a specific workflow inside OpenClaw automatically. This makes OpenClaw feel less like a standalone assistant and more like a core piece of your automation stack. Let's talk sessions. There are two parts to this. First, you now have persisted compaction checkpoints and a sessions UI that lets you branch and restore session state before it was compacted. If OpenClaw compressed your context to save space and you lost something important, you now have a way to go back and look at what the session looked like before that happened. Compaction is now pluggable. Plugins can replace the built-in summarization pipeline entirely. You configure it via agents.defaults.compaction provider in your config. On the provider side, two notable additions. Google Gemma 4 model support is now built in natively. And there's a new bundled RC AI provider with their Trinity model catalog. RC AI makes efficient models designed for specific use cases, so having that available as a native provider option is worth knowing about. There's also a change on the Anthropic side. Claude CLI has been restored as the preferred local Anthropic path in onboarding. If you've been running OpenClaw with Anthropic models, check your setup after updating because the onboarding and Doctor flows reflect this change. For anyone running Ollama locally, OpenClaw can now automatically detect whether your Ollama model supports vision by checking the API response directly. So if you're using a vision-capable local model through Ollama and attaching images to messages, that should now just work without manual config. And the memory dreaming feature is getting more capable too. Redacted session transcripts can now be ingested into the dreaming corpus with per-day session notes and cursor checkpointing. This is part of OpenClaw's experimental memory layer that promotes important context from short-term recall into longer-term memory. Now let's talk fixes, because this update has a lot of important ones. Security got significant attention. Gateway now invalidates existing WebSocket sessions when you rotate your authentication token or password. There's also improved host execution sanitization, so dangerous environment overrides for Java, Rust, Cargo, Git, Kubernetes, and cloud credentials can no longer be used to redirect tool execution. Cross-origin redirect handling also got a fix that stops secret-bearing request bodies from leaking through 307 and 308 redirects. The overall security posture in this update is meaningfully stronger, which matters if you're running OpenClaw with full system access on a machine handling sensitive work. On the usability side, a really annoying bug got fixed. The Mac app was sometimes failing to recognize the installed Gateway version if the version string included commit metadata. That's resolved. OS users get some improvements too. Connection error UI now surfaces structured, actionable messages instead of generic disconnect notices. Apple Watch exec approval workflows now keep working even when your iPhone is locked or in the background. Discord got fixes as well. DM conversation identity is now properly handled, so binding replies to a specific agent in Discord DMs stays stable across interactions. Forwarded message content and attachments also recover properly when snapshots are missing. One more fix worth calling out. The web fetch and web search tools were throwing a fetch failed error on Node 22 and newer because of a change in how HTTP connections were handled under the hood. That's fixed. If you are hitting that error, updating to 2026.4.7 resolves it. To update, just run npm install g OpenClaw latest in your terminal. After updating, run OpenClaw version to confirm you're on 2026.4.7. And if anything looks off, run OpenClaw Doctor to check your config and get guided through any fixes. To wrap this up, the 2026.4.7 update is a solid one. The OpenClaw Infer command, media generation fallback, memory wiki restoration, webhook support, and session compaction improvements are all things worth actually using. Security fixes are important, and the bug fixes make the experience noticeably more stable across Mac, iOS, Discord, and Windows. If you're looking to dive deeper into AI tools and actually implement them in your work, I recommend AI Profit Boardroom. Over 2,000 people learning how to use AI effectively. Everyone shares real experiences. What's working? What's not? Which tools are worth your time? Which ones to skip? Why? Just solid information and practical guidance from people doing the work. It's helped me stay on top of updates and figure out how to actually apply them. Link in description if you want to check it out. And if you want the full process, SOPs, and 100 plus AI use cases like this one, join the AI Success Lab. Links in the comments and description. You'll get all the video notes from there, plus access to our community of 58,000 members who are crushing it with AI.